Okay, so we're live. Gearing up for NFP today, guys. We'll see what NFP has in store for us. It's the last trading day of the week. To be honest, this week has been pretty terrible, right? In terms of actual setups, it's been very, very bland. But let's see. Let's see what today has in store for us. Hopefully, we can catch something. Let's get the tunes going, lads. Let's get the tunes going. Okay, so essentially, if we look across the board, Ritz, money day, my bro. How you doing, my bro? You good? Let me drop some hearts in the chat. Agree. Terrible setups. 300 moves in gold in 1 hour candles. Wow, trust me. Honestly, it's it's one of those days, yeah, where you just kind of got to watch and just say, wow, you know. So in terms of today, money day gift. In terms of today, we've got a couple of areas. There was a little short setup this morning, but to be honest, I didn't trade it because I couldn't be bothered. This pullback here, that gave a little short setup to take out Tokyo low. It did extend a little bit lower as well, so that was a potential move. But when I look at gold, right, yesterday I gave you guys this setup, money day, Joe. Well, it wasn't really a setup. I said to you guys, like, look, the way how, let me use this one. The way how gold, right, has essentially pulled back into this daily imbalance. Like, it's not necessarily an area where gold may give us a new all-time high. Like, we'll probably get a pullback and then drop lower, if you guys remember from yesterday's live stream. So right now, we had a pullback up yesterday, really, really aggressive. Then we dropped. Then we've had another pushback up again. And the more and more I look at this, especially with NFP coming out in 10 minutes, to be honest, I feel like this might just continue sliding lower, right? If I'm wrong, then fine, we'll look for some buys. But to be honest, I'd prefer gold to slap down than to push up. Because then what that means is, potentially next week, markets will still be crazy, stock market will still be dropping, dollar will probably still be dropping next week as well. But then if the lower gold comes, we still have all-time highs to target, right? Because when we're sitting up here, right now we do have an all-time high to target, but let's just say, for example, this wasn't here and we just had this high here, okay? Like, it's difficult to keep on buying gold because you don't know how gold will keep, rising up for. So for me, if gold retraces, the better it is for business because the more opportunities we have to participate in the market. That's pretty much all what it is. So I kind of do want to see gold drop lower. But there are a couple of areas that I'm going to talk to you guys about where we can all look out for prior to the news being released, okay? So first things first is we have this 15-minute candle. We're already having a little bit of a reaction from it. I say little reaction, but that candle's 80 pips. That's a big push up, because yesterday was giving us 500 pips up, 300 pips down. It's like I'm looking at this thinking, oh yeah, this is like a 90 pip candle range. It's not. This is a 400 pip range. Do you understand? So essentially, cool. We've got this 15-minute slash half-hour candle area, which can give us a move higher. However, I did leave you guys with this setup yesterday as well. Okay, when we're looking for a move to go long on the gold buy, we're waiting for price to pull back down here to this imbalance and then take a long. But as you guys can see, we didn't get the pullback, right? So if we do get a drop lower, to be honest, even this setup doesn't even look too bad. But if we do get that drop lower and you start to see, or we start to see, market bounce off of that imbalance and start to rally up higher, I'm going to be interested in taking an impulse entry. So what that means is, as market's moving, I'm going to try just to get in anywhere I can and give it a significant enough stop loss. Yeah. So there's area A and then there's area B. Okay. So for now, even though I did say, you know, I would like to see gold come down lower, with everything else that's going on, it doesn't make sense for you to keep trying to short gold. But I'm going to have my opinions, or keep my mind open to both being a potential eventuality. Okay. So, you know, with that in mind, I'm just going to take it easy. Okay. Right now, we're getting a little reaction here. It looks pretty good to continue higher, but again, we can't enter before NFP. Like, that's suicidal. Next up, Money Day, Joe, Money Day, CJ, Money in the house. Money Day, Charms. How you doing? Next up is Bitcoin as well. I think Bitcoin may give us a move today, but I only want to enter after the NFP news. I've got a couple of areas inside of here. We've got this 15-minute candle. 5-minute candle. We got this 5-minute candle. But to be honest, when I look at this, I would actually like to see us punch above, a little bit above London Sessions price action, you know. Just give us a little push up, looking at this imbalance area inside of here. So as you guys can see, I've set a lot of alerts, right? Because I'm anticipating Bitcoin giving us a spike, like a wick higher, yeah? And then ideally, I want to start shorting from around here on the M5. See if we can get that. Okay. I've set loads of alerts, but I also need you guys to keep an eye out on Bitcoin as well for me, yeah? Because there's going to be a lot of things happening at the same time. So whilst you're here, I know some of you guys look at Bitcoin, some of you guys look at gold with me. So let's just try to share the workload today, because today's the last day that we can really catch any moves. Also, EU gave us a move early London session, okay, for a long position out of this half hour. You could play the 15-minute candle as well, but there was a move from this area here, which gave a pretty decent push to the upside. Even when we look at the likes of EU, right, when I look at this move that we've had today, this is a lot. It's almost 100 pips, right, on EU. So the market as a whole is forking out a lot of pips, really. It's moving a lot. Realistically, for the dollar, when I look at the pre-market or the consensus data, NFP is set to release at 137k, right, which is worse than the previous data. Okay, so they are forecasting that, you know, the amount of non-farm payrolls that are coming in or new jobs being created is less than the prior month, okay, which obviously, if you put 2 and 2 together in common sense, it should be worse for the dollar, right? Then we have unemployment rate, which is still set at 4.1%, so it's the exact same as the previous data. So they're forecasting that employment will remain the same at 4.1%. But this is the thing though, if NFP's data is forecasted to be less than prior, that would surely mean, right, if I had to put common sense together or try to estimate what this data might come out as, I would say unemployment rate should be higher. Maybe unemployment is 4.2%, right? Maybe unemployment is actually worse than what we expected, you know, with what Trump is introducing to the economy, with the tariffs. A lot of businesses will have to potentially cut back on their employees. to help balance their books. So I wouldn't be surprised if unemployment is higher than what we expect it to be and higher than the past month's data. Chalms says, not bad, Josh. How are you? I'm good, Chalms. Thank you for asking. So let's just see. And we've also got Jerome Powell speaking at 4:25. Okay, guys, today's the last day. Let's just see what happens. That little setup that I said looks good. Look at it now. I don't know. My spidey senses. I need to stop saying that, but my spidey senses are tingling. Like, I just feel like gold is just gonna just absolutely hit the deck. You know. Hopefully I'm wrong, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. You know, if gold can come down lower, then that's more potential for us to find some moves. You know. But the thing that I would say about this type of market condition is giving us rejections, it's giving us reactions. It might not be a reaction where it continues and keeps going up or keeps coming down, but you're getting reactions. You know, let's say you took a trade out of that half-hour candle, right? The reaction was 100 pips. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's enough where you can take that position, you know, potentially scalp it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Go for a 1-to-1, 1.5 or 2R trades. You can catch those. But to be honest, this is probably the worst time. I wouldn't say the worst time. The worst time is like Christmas period. That's pretty bad for trades. But this is high risk environment, man. So for those of you that are not reducing their risk, you're basically giving your account a potential heart attack, you know? If you're doing any funded challenges, if you don't necessarily care about the funded challenge, or you are someone that has multiple funded challenges, then you can definitely risk it for a biscuit. I'd say these environments are great for funded accounts if you don't mind losing the account, because you know the account might blow, because you can pass an account very quickly in these market conditions if you scalp them correctly. Okay, so look, we're getting another little reaction, little rejection. DXY is dropping. For now, if I look at the past 5 minutes, I wouldn't say gold and the DXY are following each other identically, but they are definitely following, for now at least anyways. I mean, NFP could just push EU higher, you know, dollar could just slap down. Like, I don't see what we could do pulling all the way back down into this range here for EU. Like, I don't see the reason why we would. But then again, you know, NFP, you don't know what is really going to happen. But to be honest, I don't see why we should head down into this range here. All right? I don't see why we should come back up here. On the DXY, we do have gaps. So, market can definitely gravitate to those gaps. But looking at EU, I don't see it at all. But we've got 3 seconds. 2, 1, 0. Okay, gold's dropping. Okay, so NFP non-farm payroll came out at 228k. So it's better than expected, right? Way better than expected. Unemployment, okay, I was correct about unemployment. Unemployment did go up by 0.1%. So unemployment rate is at 4.2% at the moment. Okay, we're not really seeing a huge reaction from the markets just yet. We'll just give it a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes. All right, so Bitcoin has in fact wicked up higher as well. So if we get like a slightly continued move higher, I will start to look to short Bitcoin from that area there as well, yeah? Again, massively decrease your risk. There's no point in, you know, potentially blowing your account. I feel like market is you know, these candles, that's a 120 pip candle. Right now, I'm saying this is quite a muted reaction from NFP, but it's not really. You know, NFP, when gold does come out, it usually does give us a over 100 pip candle anyways, right? But because the range that we've seen recently has been so large, it's made the NFP candle look so small, right? That 1 minute candle is 120 pips. It's crazy. All right, let's see what gold wants to do. Let's see what gold wants to do. Right now, it is still holding that half-hour candle. If I look at this on the lower time frame, I kind of need to see us push above here. I need better candles to play off of. Surprise, dollar's not really doing much. Dollar's not really doing much, guys. I do want to buy gold though. Guys, if you're watching the live stream, don't forget to leave a like on the live stream, guys. What's happening, Ritesh? How you doing, my bro? You good? Don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to leave a like. What setups are you guys in? Are you guys in any positions at the moment? I do want to enter some gold buys, guys, to be honest with you. If I enter from here, my stop, I'm gonna start buying gold. Can you believe I don't even have my MT4 open? That's a rookie mistake, that. I'm gonna take a small buy on gold. And let me take a look at EU quickly. Yeah, I'm gonna go in. Right, my stop. I'm gonna give it a 70 pip stop. Right, let's see if we can take out the most recent high. We'll see if we can get there. In other news, EU's pulled back down into this 5-minute candle here. It looks likely that it wants to continue from here. So with the DXY as well. So if EU and DXY is going to drop from here, I'm anticipating gold potentially giving us a move and holding from where we are currently sitting. That is the basis for the trade setup. We're still holding the level here. New half-hour candle open. We're still holding that half-hour imbalance. So I'm going to give it a go on a smaller lot size to begin with first. Good, bro. Had a very nice buy position earlier on this morning. Nice one, nice one. I saw the setup. The setup was clean, my bro. The setup was clean. The only problem is the candles are quite big, so you know you definitely have to decrease your lot size to accommodate that SL. So yeah, guys, I've taken a very, very small buy on gold. So we're just gonna leave it at that. See what happens. If we can start to see gold take out some highs, right? If we can see gold start to break some highs. Let me just take a look at Bitcoin. Even though the dollar is moving how it is moving, I still do want to take some shorts on Bitcoin. So we'll wait for that as well. Let me get Bitcoin up on my chart. New chart window. Honestly, guys, you guys need to start using MT4 or MT5 on your computers, man. It's so smooth. I would say, especially if you're using MT4, definitely look to get in the app on a PC or something. It makes your life a lot easier. Guys, anyone in any positions at the moment? Yay or nay? Let me know, guys, in the chat box. If you're new and you're watching this right now, come say hello inside of the live chat. Don't worry, I will not bite. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe as well. We're almost at 200 subscribers, guys, so we're definitely climbing up there. Okay, so EU is continuing to drop. Let's see what EU wants to do. I do think this Tokyo high can be a target. Let's see, let's see, let's see. I went very risky with a nice profit. You know the vibes, bro. I see what you were playing off of, and using that candle. Like I said to you, you will get reactions from those candles. You will get a reaction from those candles. So again, if you went in heavy, you got the reaction, you got out. That's well done to you, bro. Okay, so gold is steadily dropping lower. Dollar is pushing up now. Let's have a quick listen to Bloomberg together. Let's have a listen to what they are saying.
Number, Jeff. First of all, we've asked this question all morning. It's worth asking again. How relevant is this number to you and the team this morning?
It's not particularly relevant, Jonathan. It's one of those.
Okay, so gold is heading down lower.
The data looking backwards is probably the least impactful.
If we get stopped out of gold, then my next area that I'm going to look at for potential buyers is the lower area.
Upside surprise. We came into this backward looking. Economy is in pretty good shape. Labor markets in particular are in good shape. None of that really matters to financial markets right now.
Oof, Bitcoin's wicking, man.
Counting the future story, and that's really about this tariff story, not really about the labor market.
So, Jeff, as you know, sentiment is already rock bottom. We've seen that repeatedly in surveys, and hard data based on this is still holding up. So, how much longer can it hold up?
Yeah, well, there's a split in the hard data versus the soft data. The soft data survey data is much more about looking forward, and the hard data, is going to be about people taking actions. And I think you're going to start to see that show up in the hard data. And most importantly, for our economy, as much as the focus is on manufacturing, this is a service and consumption based economy, and the most important issue for consumption is real wages. And so when you take something away from today's report that is important, it's that wage picture. And the wage picture has been pretty good. It's been holding up. Now it's a little bit of a concern in terms of the support that has had for inflation and the likelihood that we get back down to 2%. We're kind of more likely to stall out here at 3%. But you've thrown an entirely different wrench into the mix when it comes to the near-term inflation story, which is of course the tariffs and the impact that has in terms of growth. Away from the confidence shock, is that this is a real wage killer in terms of short-term
Oof,
impact.
big blip on gold.
So that's going to be the
Okay.
see the hard data react, and I think most
Big blip on gold there, guys.
the follow through in terms of the survey data is going to be one on the business side and investment.
On days like this here, guys, you're gonna have to enter a lot. You're gonna have to enter a lot, man.
And then I think on the consumption side,
You're gonna have to enter a lot.
The second to the 1-2 punch here is the real wage impact from what hopefully is transitory impact on inflation, as Powell may.
Yeah, not surprised, man. Not surprised.
But in the interim, it doesn't.
Not look at that. Oh my goodness! Look at that 4-hour candle on gold. Look at that 4-hour candle on gold. If this candle closes how it's looking now, or even if it stretches lower, I can almost guarantee that the next 4-hour candle is also going to be bearish. Right? I can almost guarantee you the next 4-hour candle is going to be bearish. Yeah, man. Don't get me wrong here, guys. I'm still going to attempt to take a little buy. Right? I'm going to attempt to take a little buy here, but this is not a... Everything here is high risk. It's high risk. Everything here is high risk, guys.
The economy is necessary for the sorts of cuts that are being priced in, but they're not sufficient. The Fed needs some sort of air cover on inflation, and most forecasts of inflation
Okie dokie, I'm in.
are now going to the 3 to 3.5% at the PCE core level.
That 4-hour candle is looking insane, guys. I'm still keeping my eye out for Bitcoin, see what it wants to do. E is also dropping.
Air cover on inflation. So this is This is a report
Take a look
that
at the dollar.
suggests to the Fed wait and
Like I
see.
said to you guys, yeah,
My hope is that
you
the
guys will
Fed
definitely have to help me out here
and
today
this month will
because
do two things.
there's a lot going
They'll
on.
walk back in
Oof,
order
gold
to
is
ensure
heavy,
that
boy.
tariffs impact on inflation will be transitory.
Let's see, let's see, let's see.
Eliminate that word again from his
Dollar is
vocabulary.
continuing to
The second
push
thing
up.
I hope he walks back is the ease with which
Remember,
the
guys, yeah,
economy
very, very
responds.
low risk.
As
Very,
has
very
been
low
said,
risk.
expect the hard data to weaken
Waiting for
in the
around
next month.
30.78. I'm gonna chill a bit. Flipping heck. 30.78. Where's that? Yeah, 30.78 is kind of where we are now, or were earlier. I'm gonna take this. Well, you guys already heard my gavel, anyways. I'm already in this. I might just scalp this.
I think, Lisa, what this reminds you is that the structure of the economy is fine. And this is important because
Bro, this is what happened to me yesterday.
agreement on a very bumpy few months,
Just take a step back, bro.
disagreement on where this would
Just
peak.
chill.
There are those who think that the pain is worth the gain.
Look, right now it'd be great if we had the GDX. Look at that reaction.
The structure of the economy is strong enough.
Look at that reaction. That's what we're looking for.
Bumpy journey. And there are others that worry that the structure
This is a 10-second candle, yeah?
as strong as we think.
And that 10 seconds, we moved up 42 pips.
That the economy is fine if we
These candles are insane, man. Honestly.
repeated self-inflicted
Like, this is giving us
Just joining us
Bitcoin
right now,
vibes.
moments ago, a big upside surprise on the payrolls report, 228, the estimate 140, and we look at the charts in the immediate aftermath of that job.
Okay, so what have we done? We've taken our London sessions low as well. As you guys know, when liquidity is taken, you need to expect or anticipate. I wouldn't say expect. You should expect a reaction, really.
And Stephanie Roth, he talked about that word transitory, the T word. Does that get canned today?
Okay, so over here I'm up 50 pips. I'm gonna move SL to entry just because we're not really trying to mess around with this volatility right now. So if we get price pushing back down, then it is what it is. We're tapped out. But right now, really good reaction.
T word, as you know, speaks to the same
Really good reaction.
waiting too long. That's the problem with the T
80 pips,
at the moment. Waiting too long to do something.
100 pips.
This
Insane.
I wonder, conditioned by their previous
Insane reaction.
wait too long to do something about growth and downside risk to growth, because that's the major risk for this market.
Yeah, I think that's potentially the case. And they're
Like with gold, yeah, you've just got to anticipate where it's just gonna fake you out, you know? Try to find where it might fake you out. Gold can be such a bastard sometimes, man. You know, look, imagine if you entered here, gold went all the way down here, and now it's back all the way to your entry. Then what's that gonna do to your mentality or your psychology? You're gonna think, man, I'm gonna enter this again. And then gold starts slapping down. You know what I mean? So you've definitely just got to take it easy, man. There's no rush with this. But if I were to look at gold, right? If I were to think about gold and what it likes to do, and I look at the kind of reaction that we've had now that we've taken out that low, boy, we could reverse, man. Could really reverse. But to be honest, I might even close my position in a sec.
So yesterday, you saw a big rally in rates, but it was mostly led by the intermediate and short end. If you look at the 30-year portion of the curve, it lagged, for a brief moment.
I'm gonna give it a second.
Contrast that to today, and today what you're seeing is a very different picture from the bond market, and probably the most striking is that you're seeing
This 1 minute candle closes in 10 seconds. I'm gonna hold out. Hopefully we don't come all the way back to entry.
And so Stephanie was just talking about it. It'll be
Huge pullback on this candle.
how you're measuring inflation expectations. Everybody's seen the Michigan survey. The survey measures will likely be going higher in an environment where people are seeing higher prices due to tariffs. Potentially that gets a little bit offset by what we're seeing in oil, but the impact in terms of survey responses.
Guys, the whole market is in turmoil. Like, I quickly had a browse at oil. right? And oil is in the mud right now.
70% of
Yeah,
the economy is
I've put
driving
my
that
SO
down,
beneath this
is
candle's low.
negative. And starting
If
to
it gets hit, it
fall
gets hit.
today, much more of a deflationary environment. So you're seeing the back end of the curve fall, you're seeing break evens fall, and you're even
All
seeing
right, that's
tail
it.
end inflation measures, which have really been this story about stagflation. When you measure the stagflation, it's short measures. Inflation in the near term is expected to go up. Now some of that stuff is
I
starting
might
to
enter
come
again,
down.
guys.
So
Yeah,
it's possible here the bond market may try to
stand
lead
by.
the Fed to this message of transitory by basically cutting the interest rates both in real and nominal terms for them.
I can tell you this market move's not leading.
What's going on in the chat?
Just posted on Truth Social right now.
I did, bro. Then it came out that it's smashing and grab.
For someone to blink this morning.
Nice. Any profit is a bonus at this point. Literally.
Investors coming into the United States and investing massive amounts of money, my policies will
I'm gonna look to enter again, guys. Yeah.
richer than ever before, which raises this question
For another buy. Obviously, you know, we are about 45 minutes away from New York Open. Let me see how this candle is gonna close. This 1 minute candle. GDX is down on the pre-market open as well, so gold is definitely down, man. Stock market is having a little bit of a recovery, nothing too crazy. That 1 minute candle is not enough confirmation for me just yet.
So, John, we are repricing growth outlook in a significant manner. Interestingly, the beta
See what EU's doing. EU's still dropping.
started out being a US phenomenon. Now it's spreading. People are realizing that if the US growth rate falls by X, it may fall then by more than X outside the US. And I think that is correct. The beta is greater than 1 outside the US. So it's a major revisiting of the growth outlook. How long? It depends on what other countries decide right now. The president's message.
All right, I'm going in for gold again.
You see, there's a choice out there between retaliate, de-escalate, or just wait. And we all want de-escalation, but de-escalation requires both sides to play along and for there to be an amount of trust that this is not a multi-round where you're going to have to renegotiate every time. If you de-escalate now,
I'm giving this 100 pip stop each time, yeah, guys.
see more countries move towards what China did, which is a
But I'm in gold again. Let's see how that does this time round.
that comes in for the bond market is we're now going to start talking not just about interest rate risk, but credit risk in the bond market. Credit risk has been, until very recently, really well protected, but now we're starting to see it come under pressure. And
Alright, so the hourly candle closes in 10 minutes. New 5 minute candle is about to open really soon. With the new hourly candle about to open, what I'm kind of anticipating is us forming a high of the hour and then a low of the hour. So I want to see a little reaction from gold to the upside. That's what would be ideal right now. Try and keep my eye on Bitcoin as well.
yesterday, the biggest spread widening going back to the heart of the pandemic in some of those riskier instruments. We caught up with you earlier this week, Mohammed.
Investors and Democrats in the States would not be happy with these market conditions, surely. Yeah, Gift, you're right. And also the thing that I do anticipate that they've done is they've sold off a lot of their positions in the stock market a while ago. You know, I'm pretty sure they've sold off a lot of their shares, their assets a while ago because they knew Trump is gonna start doing Trump type things. Richard says, Josh, are you going in for a scalp or for a long? I got a position in. I'll take partials as prices going up, but look, if I'm happy with what I'm seeing, I'm closing the position. But I will let you guys know when I do that. Right now we're in a little bit of drawdown, like 10 pip drawdown, 20 pip drawdown, 10 pip drawdown, 20 pip drawdown. Yeah, price is fluctuating, right? So I'm giving it 100 pips each way. Let's see what this 5 minute candle wants to do. Looks like it might stretch lower, but we'll just stay in that position there. Guys, if you're watching the live stream and you are new, don't forget to subscribe. Whilst you're down there, hitting that subscribe button, also drop a like on the video or the live stream, shall I say. Okay. So right now we're just trying to see what gold wants to do. We're at the extreme. We've had a really nice push up. Right, I don't really want to see this low get breached, but there is potential that we do breach that low. Looking at the DXY right now, we are continuing to push up higher and higher. It's slow, but it is steady. We have gone in for a re-entry on gold, so let's see if we can get a little push up, but I'm just holding this position, see how it does. What else do we have? Let's have a listen to Bloomberg for a little bit whilst we watch these moves.
I think that faith is being challenged day by day, and I think that's why you're seeing the market reactions. Yeah, so I think the only path
Okay, with the EU
forward
dropping
is
lower,
to
gold
observe
gold's not
what
looking
this
too great, to be honest.
administration and the policies that it chooses to implement are. It's very impossible to forecast, but the 80-20 to 50-50
Gold might
I
not
think
be looking
is
too
right.
great.
And you see it, in these market.
Hopefully,
reactions.
we can
Stephanie, how do you
hold
model
out till
this?
the new hourly
So we've
candle
definitely
opens.
tried to
Doesn't
model
hit
this a number
stop
of
by
different
then.
ways. Base cases, we've taken we've done the fool's errand approach and tried to model from a global perspective. What happens if we apply all of the tariffs? What happens if everybody else retaliates in kind, and then you get some offsetting factors? The numbers are kind of comically bad. You're looking at something like a 2 to 3 percentage point headwind on GDP if this all really plays out. Again, we don't think it will play out to that extent, but we think it will be pretty severe, which is why we took our growth estimates down for this year to 0.5% and recession odds up to 40%. Because these policies are bad, and it's hard for the administration to walk away from it unless something forces them to do so. And we're not there yet.
Stephanie Roth of Wolf Research, a special thanks alongside Jeff Rosenberg of BlackRock. Mohammed.
Joe says gold might be targeting 30, 36, 18. 30, 36, 18. That's lower than yesterday's low. To be honest, yeah, again, like I said in the Discord, I would not be surprised if we go for this low. But because I do have setups here, I'm just playing the setups. If it hits stop, then that's fine. 30, 36, that's quite low, bro. We can definitely get down there. Like, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt we can definitely get down there. But let's see. If I can catch little small moves from gold here and there, I'll be happy with that. Where new 5-minute candle is gonna open real soon. We've got 30 seconds.
And these discussions, believe me, are really active. Business is not going to wait because they're going to try to rebuild resilience because whatever people disagree on.
I do think we need to hold out for the new hourly candle to open.
Uncertain environment.
Mohammed, appreciate your time, sir. As always, Mohammed Al-Aaron there of Queen's College, Cambridge. That last point.
80 pips drawdown right now.
That speaks to why so many people on Wall Street believe that jobs report from 24 minutes ago, the last good one. Because when you start to put pressure on margins, when companies have to start thinking about the lever on costs, that's when the market comes into it.
That's literally what I said. Did you guys hear that from Bloomberg?
We saw yesterday from ISM Services, the employment component, as you mentioned, going into contraction.
Employment should be getting worse because
some of the lowest levels that
if all of these tariffs come into play,
to late 2023,
right, companies will have to cut back on their employees, cut back on their expenses, right, to balance their books. So they're going to look to let go of more people or hire less people. So even with the way that
this was always going to be a long week, wasn't it?
Even with the way that NFP on the non-farm payroll is actually up, that's a little bit surprising to me as well.
I mean,
tariffs go on.
The truth is, no one's going to be working.
Potentially, we'll see worse NFP results next month. Maybe because the news that was released is so fresh, the market hasn't had a chance to react to it as of yet.
If you wrote a book in 10 years about this week, would it get its own chapter? I think after the week we've had, if this policy is enacted, this will be the book. Build the library.
Okay, guys, if we get stopped out, yeah.
The entire book could be what actually
okay, gold's really going for it. If we get stopped out, yeah, we're gonna look at the next the next hourly candle that's being printed, and we're gonna see if we can take a short for yesterday's low. target that low there as well.
2.5%.
Right, but I am still anticipating a push-up. I don't think the push-up is going to be a push-up where it continues rising. I think it's just going to be a momentary push-up. Okay. So for me, I'm holding out, I'm holding out, I'm holding out. I'm holding out. I'm holding out to this hourly candle opens. I think we can definitely, well, I say definitely, but there's no guarantee, but I do think we can get a push-up. If the hour candle opens and it pushes down before pushing up, then so be it. But I do think we can get a little push-up, man. A small part of me as well wants to take a short, kind of where we are really. Right, on this 2-minute candle here, take a little short, but I'm going to hold out for that. I'm going to hold out. I'm also trying to keep an eye out for Bitcoin as well. Take a small position there on Bitcoin. I want it to keep rising.
Didn't quite answer the question, and he asked you a question. So the question he asked you was something like,
okay, gold is pushing up a little bit now. 5-minute candle closes in 2 minutes 15 seconds.
Well, first off, the Bank of America has 70 million consumer customers and millions of small businesses all over the country.
But what I do like so far is, you know, we've come into that imbalance there.
The real question was about,
right, we've had a very, very big rejection off of it. We've pulled back down into the area. So it's like we're still holding inside this level. We haven't gone anywhere. So it's still good signs, at least for now anyways. But yeah, a little short here wouldn't be too bad, you know, guys. It's looking a bit deadly. Can't lie, a little short where price just wicked there on the 1-minute candle. Wouldn't be a bad idea. If you are someone that believes in the shorts, this is a decent area to go short. You'd still have to have your SO like above the most recent 15-minute high, in my opinion, which is like 200 pips up, which is insane.
Ask us for authority, and guess what? You would have never gotten the authority. So that came up as an issue. So at the end of the day, it's about getting these regulations right.
Again, realistically, guys, you don't have to force this. Maybe this whole week you don't take any positions. It is what it is. You just sit out. It is what it is. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? So don't feel forced to take positions. I'm taking positions with such a small lot size where it's like, I don't really care. Don't get me wrong, I care because, you know, 300 pips on a small lot size adds up. You understand what I'm saying? Alright, so price is moving down lower. Hourly candle opens in 30 seconds. Brian in the chat says, what's happening, Brian? How you doing, my bro? Says this might have been the most boring NFP. Yeah, it's definitely up there. It's definitely up there, but the reason why NFP has been so boring is because the range on gold is so large. That 1-minute candle was 123-ish pips. Like, that's still a big move. But because gold has been doing so much as of lately, 120 pips looks like nothing. Alright, new hour candle. Let's see. Are we going to get a high? This is what we've been waiting for. This is what I've been waiting for. Right? If we look at the 4-hour candle, oh, this 4-hour candle is looking crazy, guys. That 4-hour candle is looking insane. I do want to see us pull up and then sell off some more. The thing is, I'll be very surprised, even if, right, let's just say gold wants to, you know, hit all-time highs. I'll be very surprised if within even a few 4-hour candles we engulf this bearish 4-hour candle. Like, it's very unlikely. Like, I don't see that type of schematic play out a lot. Like, it's unheard of, really. So the next 4-hour candle should be coming down. Like, I think this low here is the target of the day. 35, what is that? 30.54. I think that's the target for the day. Okay, so the hour candle's opened. We're not getting a push up as of yet. Okay, we're now getting a push up. Nice, nice. Let's see this push up some more. We're now getting a push up. Let's see, let's see. Let's see if this can continue, you know. Bitcoin is getting up there as well. This is why I did say, in terms of gold, we've kind of got to just wait it out, because I do think on the hour we can get a push up and then a sell off. So maybe we start selling off at this M1 candle. I mean, we'll see, we'll see. Bitcoin's up right now. I'm gonna keep setting alerts for Bitcoin. Let's see gold. Guys, I do feel like adding another position to gold to go long. Call me crazy. I do feel like adding another position. It's really, really not smart idea to do so. Okay, Bitcoin is pumping up, pumping up. Let's keep an eye on Bitcoin as well. And then watch gold. You know what? I'm in. I'm in gold again. I don't know, guys. I'm just playing what I see. I do see gold being a sell, but I think this hour we can pull up a little bit. So if we can pull up a little bit, then I can just close that position there. Bitcoin's having a nice push. It's having a nice push up as well, to be fair. Yeah, dollar is dropping a bit as well. Nice little push up there from gold. Okay, so we're back in prof. We are getting that reaction. Now, where we're approaching is dangerous. Okay. I do think we can get to this little 1 minute balance, take out this candle's high. I do think it's possible. I'm trying to watch DXY as well. DXY is in a weird, weird, weird spot. DXY can start pushing up from here. Can start pushing up from here to DXY. Little pullback, continuation higher. Kind of want to see the DXY pull back down to around here. Alright, then potentially push up, but let's see. Alright, so gold is dropping back down again. Let's see, we're in this now. We're in this. If we take it L, we take it L, man. Okay, so the new 5 minute candle is open and we're getting a push down. Okay, fair enough. I don't like how the 50-minute candle is currently printing. Half hour, 1 hour. Ooh. Okay. Could gold potentially be exhausted from pushing up right now? I kind of want to enter another buy, you know? Kind of want to just scalp this quickly. Quick 60, 70 pips. That's how I'm feeling, guys. But I do want to wait for like the GDX to open. Then it's like I'm gonna feel a lot more confident in what I'm seeing. Because right now, what I'm playing off of is pretty much pseudo memory using my experience and also using the price action I'm currently seeing, right? With a mixture of gold, with a mixture of the DXY to understand if we're actually going to get a push up, at least short term for now. The reason why this is tricky is because, you know, well, I see this coming down pretty much for the rest of the day, but right now we're playing a dangerous game, which is going against most of the volume for gold right now. So it's going to be very, very techy. We're getting a nice little push up. We're going to give this one more go. Let's see what happens with that. Nice, 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 nice. Alright, let me take some partials from this. It's pulling back so damn fast. Fuck, you know, mate. It's pulling back so damn fast. Alright, let's see. Let's hold out. I couldn't even move my stop losses fast enough, you know? This pullback looks pretty decent to keep pushing. No way I couldn't close that position fast enough. Okay, let's see. Boy, this thing is wicked. We gotta wait for NYSE open, man, because right now we're playing with some terrible, terrible volume. I need this GDX to open, man. Like I need this GDX to open. I need that. I need that. Okay, finally we're back up. Cool. Oof. You're not giving me a chance to take even a small partial, you bloody bastard. Look at that. Now you're back down again. You know what? Let me just use the auto TP. Yeah. But I know me, man. I'm gonna be upset if I fucking take profits there. Alright, Bitcoin's still pushing. Oh no, Bitcoin's dropping now. Cool. That's a nice little rejection there from Bitcoin. Taking. Okay, gold's pushing up. Gold, stay there. Let me just close some partials. Just give me the opportunity. You know what? Yeah, gold. You're just being a bloody bastard. I've taken a short on Bitcoin as well, yeah, guys. I've just taken a short on Bitcoin. My stop is at this high here. Gonna target this low here. Well, technically this low here, but gonna see if we can get a drop from there as well. Be prepared to hold drawdown. Gold's on its way up slowly, but surely. Like this price action that we're getting here is telling me one thing and one thing alone. We're waiting for New York stock open. Right? We're waiting for New York stock open. That's just all what this is telling me right now. I've got one last position open there for gold. I'm just gonna leave that. The short for Bitcoin's in profit right now. It's not bad. What was this SO? I could probably add more to this position, you know. Yeah, I've got my SO above that 5-minute candles imbalance. So it's like even if Bitcoin wants to pull back into it, at least the stock covers that 5-minute candle. So expect drawdown, yeah? Because we didn't enter up here, we entered down here. For gold, for us to see more from gold, we need to see the stock open. Yeah. So right now, it's alright, guys. Like, it's not really saying much, but it's not doing much either. You know, right now I don't even have a TP for this last gold move. So I don't think gold's gonna push up that high. Okay, dollar is dropping some more, which is good for business. Uh, totally agree with Tesh. No trade is normal. And back down. Took partial low. Problem is, as soon as you close it, it will rocket. Yep. that's that's literally how gold draws you in. Nice gift. I'm just reading the chat box, guys. I have a buy from 72. I want to keep 72. Oh, that's around here. Good entry that. Yeah. Well done, Richard Britesh. I mean, I have an entry. Where's this entry? I've got an entry like right here. When I saw this pullback here, I got in another entry right here. We'll see if that holds. Right, we can target this high, but I just don't think this will come up that high, you know. I'll start selling or looking to sell at this 15-minute candle here. Right. I'll look to sell around there. 130 pip. The thing is, we've got to beat this minute candle, this M1 candle, and I think we're going to have a hard time beating this candle area here. Pushing past it, I think we're going to have a hard time. Okay, so Bitcoin is pulling back up now. Like I said, expect drawdown with this move. Oh, I hate doing that, man. Ugh. Ooh, nice push up from gold there, man. Hope you guys were able to get a little bit involved in that. Okay, nice push, nice push, nice push. Nice push. Nice push. Guys, drop a like on the live if you haven't done so already. Drop a like. Drop a like if you took some of the buys with me today. Drop a like, you know. We held that drawdown. Market's playing out how I'm anticipating it to play out so far. With the next hour candle pushing up. Well, yeah, with the hourly candles open pushing up, but this is going to be a short-lived move. In fact, I'm even going to close in a sec for gold. I'm going risk-free on gold. I do want to close on gold really soon. You know what? Let me just take that. Alright. I'm out. Alright, so far, up on the day. Just need Bitcoin to play ball now. That's the only thing that's left. Gold can definitely head up a little bit higher. I will look to start shorting gold if we get up here. But I just decided to take out the position because I don't want to, you know, see this pull all the way back down, push all the way back up. You know, we still have about 16, no, not 16. We've got about 12 minutes. You know, we've got 12 minutes. We've got 2.5 more 5-minute candles to print, and I can't be asked to sit in that. So I've just taken that. Let's have a little listen to Bloomberg. Gift says, man, if it wasn't for this community, I would have quit already. Appreciate you, my bro. Wow, what makes you say that? What makes you say that, Gift?
Like no one else. ETF IQ only on Bloomberg. Bloomberg brings you breaking news 24 hours a day.
Hold on, guys, got a phone call.
Bloomberg Television. Context changes everything.
Live from New York City for our audience worldwide on Bloomberg TV and on Bloomberg Radio, I'm Jonathan Ferro, and joining us now, I'm very pleased to say, is the US Labour Secretary, Lori Chavez-de Rima. Madam Secretary, welcome to the programme, and first of all, congratulations on your confirmation. Secondly, the jobs report, a blowout jobs report, an upside surprise. There can be no debate about how solid this jobs report is this morning. Where there is debate on Wall Street, as I'm sure you know, is whether this will be the last solid jobs report for the remainder of 2025. There is a lot of worry about policy volatility. What gives you the faith, the hope that we will see more of the same?
Like-minded people, your education and support from everyone. Yeah, man, that's the goal. That's the goal. We need to get the community to like over 5,000 people. You know, over 5,000 people in the community, like-minded, all joining the live streams, enjoying the community, throwing up setups, throwing up profits, sharing their own opinions of what they see markets doing. You know, that's what it's all about, you know. And whenever you guys, you know, are contradictory to me, you know, I'm a big fan of it. You know, I like to have, oh, hold on.
Well, again, I don't believe that that's a sentiment across America when you're talking to the workforce. If we grow this economy, if we have positive job growth, people will start to keep more of their hard-earned dollars. They'll start to invest. They'll start to save. And I think you'll see those markets respond. Again, the president, went around during the campaign, and he's keeping his promises to the American worker. He is the president of the American worker. We align on that. I'm going to be on the ground starting this weekend in Pennsylvania talking to the American worker. I want to know what they're doing, what they care about, and I will report and advise the president on the positivity there, and we're going to start to grow this economy as we build the workforce here in America, and we're going to see these numbers continue to rise.
We don't hear that same positivity. In a recent consumer sentiment survey, in fact, 2/3 expected unemployment to worsen through the remainder of the year, the highest reading going back to 2009. These are people who are anxious about their jobs,
so right
anxious
now,
about the labour
we're
market.
flickering,
You want to see a massive transformation. You want to see a huge shift, a reshoring of manufacturing. They're things a lot of people want to see. At the same time, we hear repeatedly that people are just sitting on their hands and waiting.
Gold looks
Who's
good
going
to
do
keep
the
pushing
hiring?
up, at least for
well,
now.
I can tell you this.
This
the
4-hour
labor market
candle,
is
I'm expecting
holding
a
steady
wick.
and we're growing. Unemployment is holding steady. The labor
So
demand
let's
is
not get too
growing. We're
excited
seeing that in our
at the
companies.
push-up
We're
that we're
seeing the
getting right
investments
now.
by major companies, tens of billions, hundreds of billions of
The
dollars.
only thing is,
where
on the half
workforce,
hour,
the American
if
workforce is
gold
going
just
to
played into
grow.
this half-hour
That
down
is going to
candle.
be the key for the president.
Bro,
It's going to be the key
this
for
high
me
here
as
is
the
looking
Department of
very
Labor to
weak, you know,
protect
but
these American workers first.
again, we just got to
and
play it by
grow
the
this
ear,
economy.
man.
That's what we're seeing
Take it
across the
easy.
board. So yes, we will be hiring. We have to get out there and make sure that our workforce is skilled and trained.
All right, so we got
That's what I'll be
7
focused
minutes,
on.
7
You
minutes,
know,
7 minutes,
John,
7 minutes.
as a former mayor, as somebody on the ground, that matters most in all of these
Guys, if
communities
you
where they are
can,
urban,
for everyone that's
suburban,
in the
or
stream
rural.
right
And we
now,
want to make sure that we are supporting President Trump and his agenda,
if
and
you
that we're
go
growing
to the
that workforce
Discord,
each and every day.
I think, Madam Secretary, a lot of people would have sympathy with the idea
think
that a
everyone
lot of
should have
manufacturing in
access to the
America has been
testimonial
hollowed out
section.
over the past few decades because
But
of
if
globalization.
you have any
They will certainly
reviews
have
and
sympathy
whatnot
with
that you want to
Where they will struggle is with the
type
strategy
out,
for this
just
week.
put it inside
When you
of
see
there,
tariffs
guys.
like
It goes a long
46%
way.
on Vietnam, when you see retailers get absolutely hammered, you can take a step back and just acknowledge that the weight differential between what you can earn in Vietnam and what you can earn in the United States is just too large. That those companies will have to accept the tariff, won't be able to move manufacturing back to the United States, and they'll have to do something about costs, which will damage the
post
retailer
that
on
one
the
that you
ground
sent
on
in
Main
there,
Street in
Ritesh.
America. It's the rollout of this strategy that people are really struggling with. Madam Secretary,
Sorry, not
how can
Ritesh,
you
Gift.
guarantee that these retailers won't just be laying people off and putting up prices? In what world are they going to move
Hey
manufacturing
guys, if
from
you ever
Vietnam
want
and
to
start making sneakers
give like a little
in the United
review or a
States?
testimonial, whatnot,
Well, I can tell you
you
this.
know,
What we
guys,
saw at the
the
Rose Garden
Discord,
just 2
how I've
days
set it
ago
up,
was the president
is so
talking
that you
to the
guys
American
can
worker.
express
We
yourself
saw
and,
who was in the
you know,
audience.
if
We
you
saw
feel
the
like
American
saying
worker
thank you
there.
or showing gratitude or
Supporting President
appreciation,
Trump.
you can
That's
just
who
put it
he
inside of those
campaigns to.
sections
That's
inside
who
of
he
the
believes in. That's who
Discord.
I believe in. These companies
Yeah.
are going to
Right now, we're
repatriate. They
currently
are going to
sitting
onshore back to the
on-
United States. We want fair trade
What are we
agreements
sitting on right
for
now?
our
Let me
American
check.
businesses here as well. That's what the president does best. I can tell you this. He is a master negotiator, and he can teach a
how do I
master
check
class in
server?
that. And I can tell you the people who were in that
currently
audience were
have
excited. They were cheering him on,
85
and they are
members.
supportive of that. I will continue that
Okay.
effort. I will be on the ground
there's a lot of
across this
people in
country
here.
to make sure that the president knows
try
what's
to get that
happening
to
on the
1,000
ground,
by
and
the
we
end
can
of this
continue
year,
to have
man.
positive growth for those business owners who are on the ground, because I do understand that they put their blood, sweat, and tears into the businesses that they have, and the American worker as well. We're going to protect all of them.
They put their blood, sweat, and tears into
Will
the ground
do,
as
bro.
well. The American
Appreciate your
farmer's
gift.
got to confront this headline this morning that China's announcing an
Alright,
extra
so-
34% tariff on U.S. goods. What's your message to them?
Bitcoin, I might add another
Well, our
short
farmers
position
and
to
ranchers and
Bitcoin, you know,
producers
guys.
deserve our attention as well. I'll be working with the Ag Secretary along with President Trump to make sure that they have
think
the
for
necessary
Bitcoin, I've
things
kinda
that they
really
need
gotta
to make sure
give it
that
a
we
good
are
chance.
competitive on the world stage. America is number one. It will continue to be number one. And I'll
know,
do
we
everything
rarely
I
take
can to
Bitcoin
support
trades.
those farmers and ranchers and producers with the American workers and the workforce that
entered
they
another
need to get the
position
job
there in
done.
So we've got some key dates. April 5th, baseline tariffs go in. April 9th, the bigger tariffs go on. The day after, China threatens to retaliate. You're the
April
face of the
9th,
administration
there's even
today.
bigger tariffs.
Are there any
That's
negotiations taking place this
crazy.
weekend at a high level between China and the United States?
Ooh, don't you love it when you enter
Well, I
a
would imagine
position
the
and then
president
price
is
just
on.
pushes
Listen,
straight into profit?
President Trump works
You gotta love that.
nonstop. That is why he built a formidable team like myself and the rest of the secretaries to do our job and support him. We
Anyway,
will continue
so,
to do so. I would
again,
imagine that the
I've
president
told
is
you
continuing
guys
to have these
I want to
conversations
take a trade
because
on
he wants to
Bitcoin,
protect
what
the
I'm
American
looking
worker
for,
and the
price come
American
back into
business.
profit.
We're
Told
going to
you
make
exactly
America
when I
wealthy again.
entered.
You heard
I
him
even
say
told
it,
you
and I'm
just
gonna help
now
him do it.
when I've
I hope you're
re-entered
right.
again.
There are doubts
So
on Wall Street this morning, and you and I will talk again in the
if you
future, I'm sure,
guys,
for an
you
update.
know,
Madam Secretary,
I can't
thank you for
type
your
out
time.
all these
The Labour
numbers
Secretary,
and
Well, I look
Laurie
always give you
Chavez, Darima.
TPs
Madam
and
Secretary,
SLs.
thank
Like,
you.
it's a lot of work.
All right.
I wish there
thanks
was
to
an
John
automated
Farrow,
way of doing
as
it.
well.
That is something
Let's get
I
a
am
quick
looking
check on
into.
futures right now after that jobs
You know,
report, which
imagine
really blew
typing that out
away
and typing
the
that out
estimates estimates, we are still
2%,
looking at
3%,
3% down
bro,
on
it's
NASDAQ futures.
it's
Russell
long,
2000 futures off another 4%
and especially
after
today,
A 20
Yeah, see,
plus
look, this is
percent
what I was
drop
fearing,
from the
just
November
gold
highs.
just
Less than
pulling
4
back.
minutes until the opening
Like,
bell.
it'll probably
BlackRock's
get
Rick
up here,
Rieder
but I
is
just
still with
couldn't be
us.
bothered to just sit in that
This
position.
is open interest.
Couldn't be bothered to sit in it.
In this facility, which is part of your $2 billion investment in the last 2 years, it's a massive amount.
Yes, because we focused a lot on automation and upgrading our quality standards so that we can adhere to the US FDA and European standards, because some of our vaccines now are going even to the West, which is a fundamental shift in our strategy, from back in the day when my father started the business, where we were predominantly in India and the developing
India-centric, now you're more global.
Yes.
So you're about 8,000 strong in this
Yes.
facility? All Indian nationals?
Mostly Indian, yes. I would say 99% of talent that we've trained overseas and in India. We have our own internal skill building center where we train on site.
Serum started with just producing vaccine for tetanus, but is producing a lot more vaccines now. What is the next big thing you think?
A global pandemic flu vaccine is something that we're working on, and I think the world will need that. Not only for the annual flu cases, but God forbid there's a flu pandemic. I think we are very well poised to make 1.5, 2 billion doses and roll it out very quickly to protect the world. And we have, of course, the other vaccines, as we talked about, HPV and malaria.
It's tricky.
We just launched, and we're going to scale that up as well.
Let's just wait for stock open. 30 seconds. Bitcoin is continuing to drop. That's our most recent setup right now that we're in.
Technology is driving business across Europe.
Companies in Asia are betting on tech.
Bringing you the latest in tech and AI news whenever and wherever it happens. I'm Tom McKenzie in Paris, and this is Bloomberg.
Big drop, okay. GDX is now open officially. Let's see what Bo wants to do.
We are moments away
we
from the
didn't
start
beat this
of
1 minute
trading.
candle, man.
This is Bloomberg Open Interest.
Just like I said, I thought this area would be very tricky.
That are off 2.5% after
in any case, we're still in this.
Drop in the cash trade in 5 years. Nasdaq futures down 2.8%. Russell 2000 futures after the index
got to give it a second, let the picture build a little bit.
Down 22%.
Richard says in a gold sell at 82 at the moment. I would take it easy, Ritesh. Just give markets like 15 minutes.
Said in his note
give markets 15 minutes. You could definitely be right by selling, but I'll give market just 15 minutes.
The bell at the New York Stock Exchange today.
Let the New York Stock Exchange open volatility come and pass.
Microsoft down at the Nasdaq celebrating their 50th.
But so far, GDX has continued to push down, so your sell will probably play out.
Older than Microsoft, Katie.
Okay, Bitcoin is literally all the way back to entry now.
Sell-off we're seeing and
low-key want to enter another
stocks
short.
and the buying that we're seeing in bonds.
Absolutely. Let's talk
Anyways,
about the stocks first, because I want to take a look at the likes of Apple and Tesla, Alibaba, all linked to China. Remember, China added a 34% tariffs on all American imports starting on April 10th. That was announced earlier today. We just got a response from President Donald Trump on Truth Social posting that China played it wrong. They panicked. So not exactly a free-flowing negotiation just yet. You can see that those sell-offs that we saw materialize yesterday, gaining steam today. Apple down 3%, Tesla not too far off, Alibaba down nearly 9%, Matt Miller.
All right, we are watching other sectors, including retailers. We see continued slide from Nike today after the company was decimated again yesterday, now down 4%. Energy also, as we see the underlying oil price absolutely crater, we see the energy producers drop as well. We're looking at NYMEX crude, by the way, under $62 a barrel right now, so Occidental is off. And then banks continue to fall.
GX is still
JP
falling.
Chase is one here, but you can
Bitcoin's
look
doing.
really across the KBX and see that they're
Bitcoin
all
is
down.
really,
JP
really
Morgan
holding, you know.
off 6%. All deep
Guys,
in the red
believe it or
following
not,
that Chinese
I'm trying to enter
retaliation
another
news.
short here on
We're
Bitcoin.
back with BlackRock's Rick Reeder. And Rick, let's dive into
absolute
this
madman, but
trade
I do
war,
wanna
which is
enter.
kicking off, I guess.
I do want to
the
enter
Trump
another short.
administration
Like
put
Bitcoin looks like
massive
it's about
tariffs
to
on
go.
China. China is striking back with massive
Okay,
tariffs
where's my
on the
SLP?
U.S. How does this play out for our economy?
I'm in, man.
Listen, I mean, in the near term,
I'm in.
similar to what we talked about, there's a lot of discussion about
Let's go,
recession.
Bitcoin.
And the way we define recession is interesting. You get a couple of quarters of negative growth. What I actually think is happening is you could have a downturn because of people sitting on their
Gold's
hands.
back down.
That could be pretty
GX is still
intense
pushing
over the
down.
Short term. I don't think it's, quite frankly, I
Okay,
don't think the
we
timing is a 2
may
quarters or
have
3
just
quarters or
formed
1 quarter
the
of
high
softness.
of the hour.
It's the intensity of
Okay, so
how
now
much do
the
people sit
next
on their hands
target
for a while. So
to look
listen, I
at
think it's going to
is
be, we're
this
going to
low
have a
here,
softer
yesterday's low.
period. I think you have to build that into your asset
Okay.
allocation, how you run risk, because we're not going to know.
We'll find
at
something
least
to
for
go
a few
short.
weeks,
So
what the ultimate
there's no need to
outcome is,
rush.
when will corporate CEOs start to do more in capex,
Let's
R&D,
see
M&A?
this low get taken, and
My
then
sense
we'll
is
look to go short again.
it's going to take a few weeks for that to play out. But
Like,
I
I
think you have to
like
build in
Bitcoin's half-hour
any
candle how it's
portfolio.
printing right
there's
now.
going to be a soft patch.
If this
All right, so you're
half-hour
saying a
candle
softer period, a soft patch. I
can
want to go to a
close
note
beneath
that
this
came out this
candle's
morning
low,
from George Saravellos over
right,
at Deutsche Bank.
then I would
He
really
wrote
like
that the
this to
market is
keep on
doing one
dropping.
thing, pricing in a
So
global
right now the setup
recession.
is
Rick,
still
it
valid,
sounds like
we
don't
can still
quite
take the
see
trade,
that
whatever,
yet.
whatever. But I want that half-hour low to
So,
get
no,
taken.
I see some
So far, so
significant
good.
slowdown in the near term.
We are moving.
Like I say, whatever we call it
We
or
are
whatever
really
we term it,
moving.
I think you got to manage your risk. I talked about it last week or the week before.
Just gonna
I think
set
you
an
gotta
alert
pull
for that
back
low
on
there.
risk
Gold.
that you take within portfolios.
What's the EU
And
doing?
I think you're going to see
EU
some
could be a
tangible
short, you know.
slowdown in terms of what orders go through, how do companies think about their inventory development, how do they think about what cost of goods sold is going to be, what does it mean for margin?
This has
Do
been
you
a
have
pretty
to
good
start
stream
to
so
make
far,
some
guys.
Inventory adjustments, capex, people adjustments. So, listen, I think your portfolio has to reflect that this is going to be a
Been a
weak
pretty good
period.
stream so
and,
far.
the question of defining the durability of that. I'll say one thing that's very different when people think about spending. CapEx you put in place for 5 years, 10 years, sentiment can change amazingly quickly. And so we're in this period where sentiment now is going to be really tough.
GDX
That
is
can
still
change,
dropping.
And so I think you got to think about, how do you position? What
Still
are the
dropping.
conditions that you'd operate in where
New
sentiment-
5-minute candle
my
opens
sense
now.
is Sentiment will change quite a bit. Whether that's
Right.
a month from now, 2 months from now, or 6 months from now, is going to be the key for markets.
Well, Rick, is that what you're doing? Because if I take a look at BINC, of course, that's your ETF. I see a 9.5% allocation to investment-grade corporates. Then I see a nearly 38% allocation to high yield, which certainly we've seen some cracks start to form in the corporate credit market. Should we see some of those come down in coming days?
So I think if you study it, which you do, I think you'll see those having come down. But I will say one thing about the one thing about positioning around, the things you do a week before, 2 weeks before, tend to be your best. How you manage a portfolio, increasing some of your interest rate exposure, bringing down some of the lower quality parts of your portfolio is definitely what we've been doing. And by the way, if you think about single B high yield in the U.S., double B in Europe and the U.S., that credit conditions should be okay. Managing that and putting some hedges around it, including some interest rate. If you look at performance of how a portfolio like this did versus the high yield market, it's why it holds up so well.
I look at all the enthusiasm that we had coming into this year, Rick, was about deregulation and tax cuts, right? And it doesn't seem like the M&A guys are seeing the kind of allowance that they were expecting. And then in terms of taxes, JP Morgan's Bruce Kasman says this tariff hit, a 22% all-around tariff on imported goods, represents the biggest tax hike the U.S. has seen since 1968. Even I wasn't born yet in 1968. That doesn't seem like it's great for animal spirits, especially when Republicans are also talking about actual tax increases.
Yeah, I was born before '68. So the one thing I will say, listen, I think I think I said this last week. I think the dynamic of we've gone from animal spirits to animals in hibernation, and that's where I think we are. I think it is literally just hold off and wait and see what all these things that play through. I think companies are going to have to make significant adjustments. If you're a multinational, how you think about your supply chain, how you think about your distribution function, how you think about assembly. Like, I think all those things are going to change, and that's why we're in this period that I think is like, it is
okay, so
make decisions.
Gold's just taking out that low.
Think about risk today.
Bitcoin's in
you got to be
prof.
conservative. I think I said
Bitcoin's
you
in
got to
some
hunker
decent
down
profits.
for a bit of time here.
We've taken out that low there as well. We need to see this half-hour candle close, but the half-hour candle just opened, so let's see how that progresses.
Not going to be able to relocate
with
production
gold
into the U.S.
re-entry,
and are going to have to essentially double prices.
It's tricky. I don't have anywhere concrete for now.
Work for so many manufacturers out there.
I don't have a concrete area. What we could do is play that imbalance
so Matt,
again, but on the flip side,
that is
because 100 pips doesn't even cover
the high.
So there
is a transition. It's all about elasticities and the reaction function. And so we were trying to think about what is nominal GDP. If you slow down real growth, do prices stay exceedingly high because you've got these tariffs, and so your nominal GDP stays high because you've got higher prices and higher inflation. My sense is that doesn't capture the elasticity around it, meaning
aggressive.
What will happen is companies will have to reduce prices. You're seeing that in some of the retailers, more promotion, more couponing. So I think what will happen is
not really moving right now,
reaction function. I'm going to pass through price. Maybe I don't pass through all of it. I'll absorb some in a margin. I'll try and pass through some. My sense will be you won't be able to pass through that much, which will denigrate your ability to actually get that price, and you'll start to see prices come down. So I think what will happen is you'll see volumes come off, and then you'll start to see prices will have to come down, or you just won't sell the volume, you just won't move the inventory you need to move. And listen, there will be some, there's no question, there will be some manufacturing that will relocate.
Getting a bit of a pullback on Bitcoin as well, I can see.
There'll be some distribution change that will change, no question about it, depending on how people respond.
A little bit of a pullback.
And so, companies are going to try and keep that margin up. I'll throw out one thing that's hugely important.
This should keep going down, to be honest with you.
Towards productivity,
gold
automation.
Is really aggressively pushing back up there,
more efficient in a bunch of different ways. And that's the next trade that I think you got to put on.
And I do want to point out we're keeping a close eye on Apple, down about 2.5%, actually falling below that $3 trillion threshold on market cap. So these superlatives coming in quickly. I do want to end by talking about treasuries, because clearly there has been an enormous bid into the bond market, Rick Reeder. You know that well. But you have seen some notes out there, some worries starting to form that if this really continues, this trade war, and this deepens and escalates, whatever word you want to use, that you could see international buyers of treasuries step back even more than they already have. We know that China's holdings have been going down. We know that Japan's holdings have been going down. But do you think that that's a chip that's potentially on the table here?
So, tough one. So, listen, I think that there's a series of timing things to all these things. We've talked about we love the front end of the yield curve. You're pricing in a lot of cuts today. We've been taking some of our duration further out the yield curve for a variety of reasons, what it means for notionals, et cetera. But I still think, we talked about, we've added some interest rate exposure, been pretty significant. The front end now has got some, how do you think about the front end? How much can the Fed go if inflation is this high? But anyway, holding interest rate risk makes sense. The longer term paradigm is incredibly important. Part of why policy has to bring the debt down, part of why spending has to come down is exactly like you say. We've relied on international purchases of our treasuries for so long, and those countries, forget whatever retaliation is, those countries have to fund their own domestic. If your own domestic economy is going to slow, you've got to fund your own, you've got to issue debt in your own domicile. And that is a big deal. So, yes, I think you have to be really sensitive to that. It's part of why we need to reduce spending in this country. We need to manage the debt stack in this country because it's too onerous.
All right, Rick, great having you on the program. Really appreciate you spending so much time with us. BlackRock's Rick Reeder, also the manager of Bink.
Yes,
an
yes.
ETF that Katie watches very closely.
Well, it's grown pretty mightily since its launching, but I do want to point out, I liked your question about animal spirits because they've been nowhere to be found. Rick said that this is animals in a hibernation sort of mode. Do you know what animals hibernate?
Bears.
Bears.
Yes, very good point. All right, so hopefully they can stay away, but we're not far off of bear market territory, right? We're down, what, 15% now on the S&P from
Somewhere
the high?
close to that, yeah.
Getting very close to bear market territory in the NASDAQ, and of course we've seen it on the Russell 2000. Coming up, we're going to talk about pharma avoiding Trump tariffs, at least for now. We'll look at the sector and top calls next. This is Bloomberg.
Okay, so where are we now? I'm back.
Let's cut right to it. This is Bloomberg's new show, Primer. Technology is a $1 trillion game. One lost, one again, just by backing the right science at precisely the right moment.
My life has been focused on how can you elicit intelligence from brain cells in a dish.
This is the fundamental building block of our fusion technology.
I think for Bitcoin, I'm gonna go.
We're doing things that have never been
break
done
even on one of the
by
positions.
anybody, ever.
Everyone is selling the
We'll
future.
leave the rest.
If you want to understand what's coming,
For now,
you'll
for
want to
gold,
watch Primer, because details
can't lie, guys. Just need more data.
So do lasers.
There we go.
Oh, and it's on all these lovely channels. Hope you're jotting this down.
The countdown is on. Everything you need to get the edge at the end of the market day.
Big tech earnings kick off later this afternoon.
Gilead is coming out right now.
We have take two numbers. Back to the markets, right? Our bread and butter.
NVIDIA is one of the best stories in the tech space.
That actually matters a whole lot more.
It might shock some of your viewers.
You're watching The Close.
Get ahead of tomorrow's trading with The Close. Weekdays on Bloomberg. Context changes everything. Bloomberg loves earnings.
I know it's like your Super Bowl, right?
I can't wait. It's like opening
Okay,
presents.
guys.
All right, it will be exciting.
Nobody covers earnings like Bloomberg.
New hour candle in
Key
15
investors,
minutes.
top executives, global innovators. Join me for in-depth conversations with the biggest newsmakers on the day's top stories. Insight with Haslinda Anand, only on Bloomberg.
Listen carefully. Can you hear the rhythm in the markets? Not just in the syncopations triggered by inflation, but in the preludes leading to global elections, in the dissonance that moves the Nikkei.
The last few 5-minute candles on the DXY has just been very low volume.
There's music in the markets, and if you want to learn to
Could take a short from here, but nah, man. We just had a doji this whole hour. Had a push up, push down, push back up into where the candle opened. You can definitely look to sell around here. Like, this is not
Welcome
a bad
back to
price to
Open
sell
Interest.
from.
You take a look at stocks.
You know,
15
GX
minutes
is
after the bells
continuing to
ring,
drop as
losses
well.
deepening right now. The S&P 500 now
But
down
my only
nearly
thing is, I would like my
3.4%.
stop loss to cover
We were
this high,
already
which
heading for
is,
the worst
you know,
week
flipping
since March 2020,
more than 100
and those
pips.
losses just keep coming. We'll keep a close eye on that.
If we get a
because
little
you
bit
take
of
look
push up,
across the
then we
indexes,
can give
the
it a go,
NASDAQ
but
100 down a similar amount, and the Russell 2000
I
really,
really
bearing
like
the
it.
brunt of the sell-off. This index already in a bear
Okay,
market,
cool.
and it's
So,
just getting worse.
Bitcoin
Now
is
down
having a
about
bit of a
4.5%,
pullback right
but
now.
it's time now for our top calls.
Let me
Some of the
set some
analysts actually
alerts
in
for
focus
this.
this morning, and first up, one
Stocks
of Wall
come back
Street's
to
most
entry.
bearish
Probably have to
Tesla
enter
analysts
again.
is getting even more bearish. JP Morgan's Ryan Brinkman is
Rather
cutting
not enter
estimates for
again,
the
to be
EV
honest
makers'
with you.
earnings, citing unprecedented brand damage thanks to the Elon Musk backlash. Next up, we have Citi downgrading Kraft Heinz to a sell ahead of its earnings. The analyst citing growth struggles and margin risk. And finally, car parts retailer Genuine Parts getting upgraded to a buy over at Evercore ISI thanks to its insulation from tariffs. The analyst says that earnings may move higher actually because of tariffs. The stock right now is unchanged. I also want to take a closer look at pharma stocks. That's after the industry survived any sector-specific tariffs in Wednesday's announcement. But President Trump yesterday told reporters that tariffs may be coming soon.
The pharma is going to be starting to come in, I think, at a level that you haven't really seen before.
Let's see what this push-up wants to do on
We
Bitcoin.
are looking at pharma right now, pharmaceuticals. It's a separate category. Then we'll be announcing that sometime in the near future, not too distant future. That's under review right now.
Let's get some analysis now from Emily Field. She is head of European pharmaceutical research over at Barclays. Emily, it's great to speak with you again. And just set the scene for us. Any supply chain in any sector is going to be difficult to untangle from how globalized they actually are. But that feels especially dramatic when you think about the pharma industry.
Yeah, and I think what is just such a sweeping change for us looking at pharma on the investment side is just that, you know, as President Trump said, unprecedented territory. Pharma has been essentially immune from tariffs due to a WTO agreement from 1994. So it's just something that we have never even thought we'd ever have to consider. And now, obviously, it sounds like this is coming down the road. We're trying to do the analysis and have sought guidance from all of our companies. But, you know, we're still at very sort of high level thinking about the impacts as it's so difficult to quantify.
How hard is it? I mean, I know that we have some workers coming back to the Health and Human Services.
Yeah, volume's low right now, guys.
FDA doesn't lose
Is that
nearly
Trump
as
speaking?
much staff as we feared,
see.
but there's still going to be a slimmed down
No,
workforce.
it's not Trump.
How hard does that make it
This is
for
still
drug
Bloomberg.
companies to get things through and to get new advancements out to the public that needs them?
Yeah, that is a super salient point. And to be honest, for me personally, that's what I'm more concerned about impacting the space rather than tariffs. You know, pharma products are still going to get made. These companies have very, very high gross margins.
Don't like this
so
push up
they
on
can't
Bitcoin at all,
absorb
man.
some cost increases. However, this is totally
It's completely
unprecedented.
changed how the
FDA,
half-hour candle looks.
high-level people at the organization that investors
You know, if this
know
half-hour
about
candle
have
starts
left in the
closing
last
up here,
week.
then
Will this delay drug approvals? To be honest, we
could be in a really,
just
really
do
tough
not
spot.
know.
And I want to talk a little bit about
The only thing
specific
that is
companies.
good is the
Novo Nordisk
15-minute.
obviously
We've had
is
a
in your
closure at
coverage
that low.
universe. Novo having a really
the
difficult
5-minute
start
as
to the year,
well.
down 28%. And you think about Novo with its blockbuster obesity drugs, its biggest market is the U.S.
I've just
I mean,
sent it
when
again
you
on
think about the
Bitcoin, man.
global impact of any specific sector tariffs here, I have to imagine that Novo could be in for more pain, Emily.
Yeah, well, and it certainly has been a painful period for Novo shares. And I think, it is getting sort of isolated as a potential tariff loser, if you will, given we know the supply chain because it's really centered on one drug. They make the raw semaglutide mostly in Denmark, although the filling and finishing is done elsewhere. And then, of course, Greenland, which is part of Denmark, seems to be in the headlines. However, what we're really looking for with Novo is, will obesity prescriptions start to rebound after the phenomenon of compounding, what Hims and Hers is doing in the U.S., is set to expire at the end of May? So that could be what we're all looking for as a potential turning point.
In your coverage universe, Emily, how much production is moving back to the U.S.? How many companies that you cover are saying, all right, in order to avoid tariffs, I'm going to bring all my drug production back to the United States of America?
Well, in terms of what we've seen from companies thus far, Johnson & Johnson, Eli Lilly, and Merck have, issued press releases saying, oh, we're doing this incremental capital investment in the United States. None of the ex-U.S. companies have done that yet, although maybe that happens in the future. But the thing with pharma production is they're very, very long lead times to build facilities, and they're also highly regulated. So, you have to have some certainty on
I'm not
how
surprised,
long
man.
tariff
I'm not
picture is going to
surprised.
play out. And then
We
also,
should be taking
you're going
out
to need
today's
FDA
low at some
inspectors
point.
to inspect any new facilities that you're building. So in terms of where CapEx goes, that's still just another huge question mark.
And Emily, it's interesting how grim things feel in this industry right now relative to mid-January. I was out at the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference in San Francisco, and one of the big themes was we're going to see all of this M&A, we're going to see this merger activity, some consolidation in the space, all of those tailwinds that were kind of anticipated at the beginning of the Trump administration. It just feels like they've totally gone by the wayside.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were certainly expecting with the change at FTC. We know FTC had taken a pretty draconian view towards pharma consolidation under the Biden administration. All our large cap companies have very healthy balance sheets. We were expecting really significant M&A to pick up in 2025. But I think the uncertainty created not only with tariffs, but also with what's going on with healthcare policy under RFK Jr. at HHS, I think has led all these companies to just really sit tight and see what happens. We actually, given the policy overhang, downgraded pharma to neutral back in January, right after JP Morgan, as we thought this policy uncertainty would be a drag probably
what's going on?
about the summer.
All right.
Essentially,
Emily, thanks so much for joining us.
we've
Emily
pretty much had
from Barclays talking to us
everything
about,
that we wanted
what
to play out today
expect
play out
in the pharma industry.
Okay,
let's get a quick
literally
check
everything.
on stocks as the S&P.
We had the gold
the
buy.
NASDAQ
No,
and the Russell
we
2000
didn't have
continue
everything.
to fall.
We had
We're
a
looking
gold
at a
buy
3%
earlier.
drop
that
for
hit
the
stop.
S&P right now. So not nearly as bad as what we saw yesterday, but it does look
we
like
had the gold
if
buy
we stay
earlier
at
hit
these
stop.
levels,
We
we'll
had
close
the
out
secondary
week
buys
down
hit TP. Well,
6%
manual
for the
closure.
S&P 500. The Russell 2000
Then we've
in an
had
official bear
Bitcoin.
market
Literally,
now
I think it did
about
hit
25%
1 to 1
from
R.
the high that it posted in
Yeah, it
November.
went down
This
like
is open
800
interest.
pips, 700 pips. The SL is about 700 pips as well. Okay, so we got a decent move from Bitcoin as well, even though it's pushing back up now. I still do think it's got a good chance of dropping some more, but we need to be careful with the half-hour candle, how it's going to close. Okay, and lastly, gold is also continuing to drop as well. Dollar is rising ever so slightly. GDX is also dropping. So the rest I'm going to leave you guys with is the target of the day, which is going to be Thursday, aka yesterday's daily low. Which is not a bad area to look at, you know. When we look at from next week, we'll look at gold from next week, starting Monday. I can't lie, this will probably keep dropping down lower to start the week, and then we'll see if midweek or end of the week we can get a bit of a push up. Yeah. So for those of you that are in shorts already, I guess just chill, sit in the shorts. If you're in Bitcoin shorts, if you didn't take profits, or move your SL to entry.
U.S. jobs
If you haven't had a chance to enter,
Bloomberg
I
has
would
the
probably just
report
enter
under
now.
surveillance with
Put
crucial
your
data
stop
and expert
above
analysis
this
at
5 minute
terminal
candles high,
speed.
but if you
Nobody
want to be a
covers
little bit
jobs day
safer,
like Bloomberg.
I'd put it above the 15
Bloomberg
minute
surveillance covers the
imbalances
latest in
candle high,
global
so a little bit
markets
higher
and
up
the
here.
political events
I
that
do think this has
influence
got
your
good
world.
potential
Join
to
Jonathan
play
Farrell,
out still,
Lisa
even though it's not
Abramowitz,
looking the
and
best right now.
Anne-Marie Hordern.
And
Only on
that's pretty
Bloomberg.
much all the setups I'm going to leave you
Context
guys with.
everything.
So, you know, this has not been the best of weeks, but it's been pretty decent, at least for today anyways. We've reduced our risk, we've gone lower on our lot sizes, increased our stop losses. You know, this is just what it is, guys. Sometimes we're not always going to get the conditions that we want, but we just have to be flexible and always do our best to adapt. Yeah, money day. Stock market will continue dropping most likely as well. So, you know, it's part of the reasons why I do see Bitcoin continue to drop. But other than that, guys, money day, money day, money day. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe, drop a like, and I'll update you guys regularly as usual inside of Discord. Peace.